There comes a moment in life when silence is louder than chaos, when stillness feels stronger than shouting, and when peace becomes more powerful than proving a point. That moment is not accidental, it's not forced, it's a choice. A radical, unapologetic, courageous choice to no longer let the outside world dictate your inner world. Because the truth is, when you choose peace, you choose power. You see, we live in a world obsessed with noise. Everyone's talking, debating, proving, performing. Social media tells you you're behind. Society tells you you're not enough. People around you tell you who you should be, how you should act, what you should believe, and what success should look like. And in trying to keep up, we forget the most sacred part of us, our peace. Peace isn't passive. It's not sitting on the sidelines of life. It's not avoiding conflict or pretending everything is okay. Peace is fierce. It's a fire beneath the stillness. It's the quiet confidence that says, I don't need to fight to be seen. I don't need to argue to be understood. I don't need to break myself to be accepted. Choosing peace is a warrior's decision. People often confuse peace with weakness, as if being calm is giving up, as if walking away means surrendering, as if letting go means you've lost. But what if letting go is the ultimate win? What if walking away is saving yourself? What if staying calm is what real strength looks like? Because anyone can react. Anyone can scream, argue, prove a point, clap back. But it takes something deeper, something unshakable to rise above. It takes character to not let someone else's energy infect yours. It takes strength to not give your power away to every comment, every situation, every opinion. The moment you stop chasing approval, you begin reclaiming yourself. That's power. Peace is the quiet knowing that your worth is not up for debate. It's not tied to applause. It's not measured in likes or followers or praise. It's a deep inner knowing that you are whole, even in your most vulnerable moments. And when you live from that space, no one can control you, not even fear. The most powerful people in this world are not the loudest. They're not the richest. They're not the most followed. They're the most centered. The ones who know who they are, even when the world is telling them otherwise. The ones who walk into a room and don't need to dominate it, because they are already full inside. That is the power of peace. Think about the most powerful moments in your own life. Were they loud? Or were they silent breakthroughs, quiet decisions you made when no one was watching, choosing to walk away from drama, choosing to heal instead of hate, choosing to rest instead of overwork, choosing to forgive when revenge felt easier? That's the power of peace in action. When you choose peace, you don't just protect your mind, you protect your future. You stop making decisions from fear and start making them from alignment. You stop settling for what drains you and start attracting what elevates you. People notice when you stop reacting. They notice when you stop chasing. They notice when your energy shifts, and suddenly, they can't control you anymore. That's power, but let's be honest. Choosing peace is not always easy. Sometimes it feels lonely. Sometimes it feels like you're missing out. Sometimes it feels like you're being misunderstood, and that's okay. Growth often comes with discomfort. But discomfort is not a sign to stop. It's a sign to go deeper. Because every time you choose peace over chaos, you train your mind to rise. Every time you choose presence over panic, you reclaim your life. Every time you choose to breathe instead of break, you build resilience. Peace doesn't make your life perfect, but it makes it powerful. It brings clarity where there was confusion. It brings softness where there was pain. It brings strength where there was survival. There is something magnetic about a peaceful soul. People may not understand it, but they'll feel it. They'll feel your boundaries. They'll feel your strength in silence. They'll feel your energy when you enter a room, not because you're trying, but because you've done the inner work to know who you are. When you stop begging for peace from others and start building it within yourself, you become unstoppable. There will be people who test your peace, People who misunderstand your silence, people who try to pull you into their storms. Don't go, stay grounded, stay anchored, don't let their chaos become yours. Not every fight is worth fighting. Not every opinion needs a response. Not every situation deserves your energy. You were not born to be consumed by conflict. You were born to create, to love, to rise. And you can't do that if your spirit is constantly exhausted. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it's necessary. Because you can't pour into others if your cup is empty. You can't change the world if you can't hear your own thoughts. You can't grow if you're constantly distracted by the noise around you. Peace is where your power begins. It's where you learn to listen to your intuition, where you learn to trust yourself again, where you learn to differentiate between what feels good temporarily and what's good for you long term. It's where you stop seeking permission and start honoring your truth. And as you step into that truth, your whole life begins to shift. You'll find that you no longer need to chase validation. You no longer need to keep people who cost your peace. You no longer feel the need to explain your every move, because you know real ones get it, and those who don't aren't meant to. Let them talk, let them misunderstand, let them walk away. Don't trade your peace to keep someone who can't handle your growth. You were not meant to stay small to make others comfortable. You were meant to rise gracefully, powerfully, peacefully. You'll notice that when you're at peace, your relationships change. You no longer engage in toxic cycles. You communicate clearly, you set boundaries lovingly, you attract people who respect your energy, and most importantly, you begin to feel safe within yourself. That's what healing feels like. That's what growth feels like. Peace is not about avoiding life. It's about being fully present in life. Knowing that chaos may come, but it doesn't have to consume you. Pain may visit, but it doesn't define you. People may disappoint you, but they don't destroy you. Because your peace is not built on external conditions. It's rooted in who you've become. And who you're becoming is powerful, powerful enough to walk away from what no longer serves you, powerful enough to sit with your own emotions instead of numbing them, powerful enough to pause before reacting, powerful enough to choose grace over revenge, powerful enough to be okay with not being understood by everyone. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to win every argument. You don't need to be everything to everyone. You just need to be true to yourself. Because when you are, peace will follow, and where there is peace, there is power. So the next time you feel triggered, ask yourself, is this worth my peace? The next time someone misunderstands you, ask, do I need to prove anything? The next time you're unsure of a decision, ask, will this disturb my peace or protect it? And let that be your guide. Because peace isn't something you find, it's something you create. It's something you choose, and every time you choose it, you choose a more powerful version of you. So breathe, let go, center yourself, and remember when you choose peace, you choose power. They'll tell you power is about control. That it's about having influence, making the most noise, having the final word. But that's not power, that's pressure. That's performance. That's the exhausting attempt to bend the world to your will, to fix everything around you so you can feel okay within. But here's the truth most people miss. True power lies in mastering your inner world, not controlling the outer one. Because the outside world, it's unpredictable. People change, circumstances shift. Life doesn't always go as planned. You can't control who stays, who leaves, what others think, or what the world throws at you. And the more you try to force the external to cooperate with your peace, the more exhausted and powerless you'll feel. But your inner world, that's your domain. That's where your true authority lies. That's where your freedom begins. Mastering your inner world means being able to stand in a storm and stay grounded. It means being able to say, even if everything around me is falling apart, I don't have to fall apart with it. It means creating a space within yourself that isn't touched by external noise. A space where you can retreat, rebuild, and rise, not in fear, but in faith. This is what spiritual warriors do. They stop trying to fix the whole world before healing their own hearts. They stop arguing with everything outside of them and start aligning with what's inside of them. Because they know when the mind is calm, decisions are clear. When the heart is healed, love flows naturally. When the spirit is anchored, nothing outside can shake it. That's power, not the kind that dominates, but the kind that liberates, not the kind that demands, but the kind that understands. It's easy to control others through fear or force, but it takes true power to control your own thoughts when you're triggered, to sit with your emotions instead of lashing out, to choose grace when anger is louder, to remain still when everything screams for reaction. Mastering your inner world is about emotional maturity. It's about taking responsibility for your peace and realizing that no one else can give it to you and no one else can take it away unless you hand it over. It's about realizing that the real enemy isn't outside of you. It's the doubt, the fear, the noise that lives within. And when you conquer that, the world outside loses its grip on you. There's a reason monks find peace in silence. There's a reason healed people walk away from chaos. There's a reason some of the most powerful souls you'll ever meet aren't loud, they're present. They've stopped chasing, they've stopped performing, they've mastered the most difficult battlefield, the one within. And in doing so, they've found something the world can't take: clarity, confidence, calm, and complete freedom. So don't waste your life trying to fix everything outside of you. Don't wait for perfect circumstances to feel whole. Don't tie your happiness to things you can't control. Start where it matters, go within, heal the thoughts. Calm the fears, align with your truth, and watch how the outside begins to shift, not because you controlled it, but because you mastered the only thing you were ever meant to, you. That's where your real power is, and no one can take it from you. The world may try to convince you that peace looks like surrender, that choosing to walk away from conflict means you're afraid, that staying calm when others provoke you is a sign of weakness, that not clapping back means you've lost. But those are lies built by egos that haven't healed, because choosing peace is not weakness. It is a bold declaration of self, worth, and wisdom. It takes strength to pause when your pride wants to react. It takes courage to let silence speak when noise surrounds you. It takes deep self-respect to say, my energy is too sacred to be wasted here. Peace is not passive, it's powerful. It's not about hiding, it's about holding. Holding yourself together when everything is pulling you apart. Holding your truth when others question it. Holding your ground when the world tries to shake your foundation. When you choose peace, you're not saying this doesn't matter. You're saying I matter more. You're saying your mental clarity, your emotional stability, your spiritual alignment, they're not for sale. Not for the argument, not for the drama, not for the approval. You're declaring without shouting that your worth doesn't require permission or applause. That you don't need to win a battle to prove your value, because you've already won the war within. You don't choose peace because you can't fight. You choose peace because you don't need to, because when you know your worth, you stop negotiating your dignity. When you know your voice, you don't need to raise it. When you trust your path, you don't get pulled into detours created by other people's chaos. And let's be real, anyone can yell, argue, throw words like weapons, stir up drama. That's easy, that's reaction. But to remain calm, to breathe through anger, to respond with grace instead of retaliation, that requires emotional maturity. That requires healing, that requires wisdom, the kind of wisdom that knows not every invitation to chaos must be accepted. Not every storm needs your attention. Not every opinion deserves your energy. You begin to realize that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is not engage. Not because you're weak, but because you're wise. Not because you don't have the words, but because peace speaks louder than noise. Peace is a statement. A silent, radiant statement that says, I know who I am, and I refuse to be pulled into spaces that dim my light. It says I value my peace enough to protect it, even if others don't understand why. It says I've outgrown the need to prove anything to anyone. So when someone tries to provoke you, and you stay calm, that's strength. When life throws chaos at you, and you choose stillness, that's wisdom. When the world misunderstands your quiet, and you stay grounded anyway, that's the kind of power that can't be faked. It's the power that comes from a healed heart, a grounded spirit, a mind that's not enslaved to ego or insecurity. So let them think you're soft. Let them assume you're scared. Let them believe you're backing down. Because what they don't know is you've just leveled up, you've just chosen you've just declared not with noise but with stillness, my peace is not up for negotiation. And that, right there, is power. We all want success. We crave fulfilling relationships. We search for self, love like it's hiding somewhere out there in the world, in the next achievement, the next person, the next phase of life. But the truth is, these things don't begin out there, they begin within. They begin the moment you make a conscious, courageous decision to protect your peace. Because lasting success, relationships, and self-love all begin with the courage to protect your peace. Why? Because without peace, everything feels like survival. Without peace, even your wins feel heavy. Without peace, relationships turn into cycles of reaction, resentment, and exhaustion. Without peace, self-love becomes self-avoidance, masked by temporary highs and constant overthinking. You cannot build a solid life on a shaky foundation. And your inner peace, that calm, centered, deeply rooted space inside you, that's the foundation everything else depends on. Think about it. What is success worth if you lose yourself in the process? What are relationships worth if you have to shrink, fight, or constantly explain your worth just to keep them? What is self-love if you abandon your own boundaries just to feel temporarily accepted? True success isn't just about goals and milestones. It's about how you feel when you reach them. It's about building a life that doesn't burn you out just so you can impress others. It's about waking up in alignment with who you are, not who you're pretending to be. And that kind of success starts with choosing peace every single day. Real, soul-nourishing relationships also require peace, not the absence of conflict, but the presence of emotional safety. Because when your peace is intact, you communicate differently. You stop over-explaining, you stop tolerating what drains you. You begin to attract people who value your calm, not test it. You stop begging to be seen because you're no longer invisible to yourself. And self-love, it's not just about affirmations and spa days. It's about the decisions you make when no one is watching. It's about the boundaries you set, the energy you protect, and the people you say no to, not because you hate them, but because you love yourself more. Self-love begins when you realize your peace is not just precious, it's non-negotiable. But here's the hard truth. Protecting your peace takes courage. It means saying no when guilt says yes. It means walking away from familiar chaos. It means disappointing others to stay loyal to yourself. It means letting go of patterns, people, and pressures that once felt like home, even when it hurts. It means choosing your well-being over your people. Pleasing, it's not easy, but it's necessary, because if you don't protect your peace, no one else will. You deserve a life that feels like freedom, not a performance. You deserve relationships that feel like support, not survival. You deserve to love yourself enough to say, this drains me, I choose peace. This disrespects me, I choose peace. This no longer serves me, I choose peace. And when you start doing that day by day, choice by choice, something amazing happens. You stop chasing. You stop doubting, you stop settling, and suddenly success feels lighter. Love feels safer, and you feel stronger. Because you're no longer living a life for the world. You're living a life that aligns with your soul. And that kind of life, that kind of power, It starts the moment you say, my peace is a priority, my peace is a boundary, my peace is my power. And everything good, everything real will grow from there.